we're here with Elliott Bennett. Elliott, mate, how you doing?
Really good, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's a real pleasure to speak to, people from Blackburn, and I'm just so glad you reached out to me on Instagram, and here we are. So yeah, brilliant.
Nah, Elliott, I'm sure the honour's all ours, mate. All the fans are so gassed to hear from you. But we want to know one thing straight away. Your time at Blackburn, obviously, very good time for you. But we want to know, what were you feeling that time at Blackburn? How was it for you? What was it like?
Amazing. From the minute that I knew Blackburn were interested in me, obviously Paul Lambert brought me there, and he was the one who, gave me an opportunity to play in the Premier League. The size of the club, everything about it. I had no hesitation really, and as soon as I walked through the door, I just loved it. The people, the fans, obviously play a massive part in every football club, and without them, you haven't got one. But the people that you work in with every day, behind the scenes at the training ground, just magnificent human beings, and just a pleasure to work with every day. So yeah, it's been a true honour of mine to represent the football club.
The League One season was nothing short of impressive for me personally. At a time where we'd just been relegated, there was a lot of disharmony with the fans,
Yeah,
obviously because of the ownership and everything else. And I think, I'm not just saying this, I'm not blowing smoke here because you sat, having a conversation with us now, but you were literally one of the people that sort of bridged that gap with the fans, um, and beat the players as well. Even if we're just giving the fist pumps at the end and all this kind of on the shirt, people love stuff like that. So thank you for doing that. Um, Now at Blackburn, you worked under four different managers. I could be wrong there. I think.
Paul Lambert, Owen,
My question
and
really,
three, yeah.
yeah. I mean, my question simply is when Mowbray came in after what was the first off season with Owen Coyle, what tactically did he change within that squad to really sort of get you going and almost get out of a near enough impossible situation?
To be honest, tactics. We, I've said what I've had to say about the Owen Coyle. My time with him, I've never fell out with any manager in my whole career, and I still haven't. I never fell out with Owen Coyle at all. But I just found the the situation we were in that championship season when we ended up getting relegated, the how it was going for me, I just felt the lads needed a bit more, from the manager, in terms of like tactically. It was, don't get me wrong, like going into training and every day was really fun, which sounds mad when you're losing most weeks. But yeah, that was the bit that I didn't kind of like. And I think when Tony Mowbray came in, he saw the squad that we had. We should never have gone down. You can always say, "Oh, we're way too good to go down." We went down, so we deserved it. Um, but I think had Tony Mowbray maybe came in, I'd have said a month earlier, 2 weeks maybe, we'd have stayed up, and we went down on goal difference in the end. And I think the turnaround in the same group of players, no one changed, was immense. And I think that was just down to his connection with the players, the tactics we did every week. We worked on things. He kind of recognised what we needed to win games, change things around, change players, change how we were playing. And I just think that was a massive part in that was kind of the start of what happened in League One, even though it was too late in the championship season. So yeah, he was, magnificent for me personally in terms of played me, had a real connection with me. He's just, he was just a North. I know it didn't. It's not ended up. He's ended up leaving, and new managers come in now. But he was just a northern lad, fought on accounts of the state, like most football people. And it really like connected with me because that's what I am. I just thought about football, no airs and graces and stuff like that. And his kind of thing was this club needs to reconnect with the people that pay every week to come and watch you. Because without them, this football club doesn't exist. We're not playing here. We're not a group together. So how can we reconnect with them? And he spoke about artists and soldiers and kind of characterized players in that kind of sense and said, you soldiers go out, go and get all the bad stuff done and give it to the people that can paint the pretty pictures. And And then you end up going and signing Daki, and Armour came in, people like that, and they were the artists of the squad. Charlie Mulgrew got the best out of him, I feel, and kind of said to the Richie Smallwoods, the me, you lot do what you do, run around, be aggressive. When you get the ball, try and pass it to them, and let them make us successful. And in that League One season, it worked out really well.
What I've been thinking recently, so you see Sunderland, and they nearly got the playoffs with Tony Mowbray. And he said that final game at Preston away, he didn't have any signal about what was going on anywhere else at the grounds. So I want to know, when we played Brentford in that final game of the Championship season, when we got relegated, what was it like? Did you know what was going on elsewhere, or were you just playing it like it was a normal game?
Yeah, we didn't know from the manager in terms of from the side, they weren't shouting anything on. We just knew from the reaction in the stand, when you scored, and I think at the time we were still staying up, and you get the sense that we're all right at the minute. But from the side, from the manager and the coaching staff, it was kind of just, listen, the only choice we've got today is win. It might be enough, it might not, but if we don't win and the other result goes the way we wanted it to, but we haven't done our part, it's a waste of time anyway. So it was the message was just go and win the game. And as it was, I think, was it a late goal or something mad went on, and we went down by 1 goal. And if we'd have scored one more, but when you're playing a game, you're obviously just trying to win the game. And to be honest, listen, when you get relegated on the last day of the season, it isn't necessarily from that it's not the last game that sends you down. It's the 45 other games that you haven't picked up that one more point, or scored that one more goal, or won that one more game. Do you know what I mean? So, it was heartbreaking, disappointment. The feeling I had that summer was horrible. But saying that, the fact that the kind of sprouts of the good stuff were there from when he came in, and the kind of club, the owners and everyone was like, listen, you lot that we went down with that are under contract, you're staying, and you're going to get us back up. And the manager was quite open about that with us all. He said, look, you brought us down, you're staying, you're going to take us back up, and then we can all enjoy a good season, but we've got to put in the hard work and go and do it. And thankfully that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, I mean that. I think it was one of either the first or second game of the season. So we played Southend or Doncaster, one of the opening 2 games of the season.
It was the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah. So I think it was quite poetic how we go and get beat 3-1. I think it were by Doncaster, 2-1 at home, and we go and get promoted back at their place. I think that's quite a special one.
No, it was, yeah. To be honest, after that, I think because we knew we had a good squad, we knew how good we'd been from when Tony Mowbray came in. I think the players that we brought in, obviously they didn't really know about all that, but I think we kind of thought, well, look, if we'd have had the manager for the whole season, on the points that we managed to pick up, we'd have been, we'd have done all right. We'd have done quite well in the Championship season. And I think when you get relegated, sometimes the hardest thing is to flick the switch and realise it doesn't matter where you were last season or how good you ended the season, even though you went down. You have to start all over again. And, after them first 2, I think the first 2 games, even though if we'd have won one of them, we'd have ended up winning the league. That's what we needed at that time. We needed that straight away, that quick punch on the nose to say, if you don't sort yourself out, you're in big trouble. And I think after that moment, we kind of then, I don't know what it was it 30 games unbeaten or something? It was a crazy amount of games. We didn't. I think we next lost at Plymouth away in a long time after, where we were terrible that day, by the way. So if you had travelled down, any of you that are on this podcast or anyone listening, I really apologise because we were crap. But other than that, we were I think we just needed that smack on the nose to go, right, we're in a fight here. We've got to do what we've got to do, and and then we ended up managing to do what we set out to do.
Yeah, and one thing I want to know is, I know Ollie here is a little bit older than us. Not if you could tell by the bald head, but just he is a little bit.
I did have a full set there, Benno. Yeah.
That's why I've got a hat on. That's what I've got a hat on.
But as you might know, for someone like me and Luke, I'm 20, Luke obviously 18 soon. For us, all we've known from Blackburn is the Championship, League One. Really, we didn't really grow up with the Prem. But as a player, when we were in League One, losing basically first game of the season, and we're going, oh no, this can't be happening. We're Blackburn Rovers. But knowing also you've got this older fan base who have been there through the glory days, been through all that. How much pressure as a player did it mean to you wearing the badge and having to play, knowing that there were so many people looking at you in League One and going, what is going on?
Yeah, to be honest, that's what I think everyone you ever speak to from that season, I think that's what we thrived on. And obviously, when you first get beat at Southend away, and you're thinking, "Oh Jesus," and I drove back with my dad. Come to that game, I drove back with him, and I've bumped into a couple of Blackburn fans on the way out of the ground. We're in the car, they're in the car, trying to get out of the car park. A few of them like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh, we'll sort it out. I hope, we'll sort it out," thinking, Jesus. But, when you're a big football club in League One, the expectation. And for me, as a player, that's what you play football for your whole career. You want to be playing for big clubs. You don't want to, no disrespect to any other clubs, but you want to play for clubs with history, with, as a kid, most kids grow up, nowadays, Man City, and you want to play for them clubs. And if you play for them clubs, comes a certain expectation of you have to win. And if you don't win, you better give your best to win. And you better win next week if you've lost or you're drawn. So I kind of thrived on that feeling. And then when the train starts rolling, as it did, you're walking into places, and before you've got there, you feel like you've won, because the away following's coming in bigger numbers than, that clubs that you're playing against isn't necessarily used to. You're rolling in there with your big coach and your nice training wear, and they know what we've just done the last 5 games, and they know the players that we've got in the dressing room, and you think you're getting on the pitch and you're like, we can play terrible today, but Charlie can score from a corner. Our centre half can score from a corner. Stop that. Do you know what I mean? And that's the kind of feeling you got. And then you think, we've got Bradley Dack in the 10, thriving off being at a big football club in Blackburn. He's feeding it through to Danny Graham. And if Danny Graham doesn't feel like he can score, he's going to pass it back to Dacky, and he's just going to roll it into the empty net because the keeper thinks Danny's shooting. So it was kind of like it just felt right, and everything kind of, like I said, I feel like we needed that punch on the nose, a bit like a boxer that goes in thinking he's going to win, gets hit a couple of times, and he's like, here we go, now we better start. And I feel like that's just what we did. And obviously, that there's pressure there, but I feel like the group embraced that pressure and really, really wanted to drive it forward. And obviously, having Charlie as captain, been at Celtic, tell me a club where there's more pressure than that. I don't know one. And the manager making him captain was a kind of masterstroke, really, because he was a massive driving force in the dressing room. Great lad, but what a player, and didn't stand for any messing and any rubbish, because he's been in that situation where you draw a game at Celtic, you're getting caned. Do you know what I mean? They're not going out with their missus and their kids on a weekend, on a Sunday, just in case they get bumped into and told how bad they are. So yeah, no, it was fantastic.
Just quickly following, Benno, from what you said there about how good the following was and the mentality of turning up and sort of knowing that it was not being arrogant, like we've already run. I mean, I remember taking good numbers to MK Dons. I think, places where you wouldn't expect 3,000 or 4,000 Blackburn fans to turn up to. But one game I want to ask you quickly about, right, is I remember when we played Walsall, okay? And I'm guessing there's a bit of a backstory to this, but we won 2-1. Now, was it the playing squad? Was there a bit of a bug going around or something like that at the time? Because what you just said there just resonates in the mentality of how we were. We turned up. There was this rumour going around that all the players were bad. I heard Danny Graham was being sick at half-time. I don't know how true that was. But
yeah, he was. He was in one cubicle. There's two toilets at Walsall away training dressing room. He was sick in one. I was sick in the other. Half-time. True story.
Was it that bad across the squad? Was it just everyone was feeling fatigued?
There was probably, I'd say, 6 or 7 feeling like not great. And then me and Danny, we ended up, I don't know if we maybe were the first ones to have it. So then the sickness was coming out. The lads then afterwards were like, got through the game and then maybe was after. But yeah, me and DG, yeah, just honestly horrible. But they're kind of the moments where you need everyone to go, we've got, it's half time, we've got 45 minutes of a football match. Look what we're trying to achieve. If it means I'm ill Sunday and Monday, so be it. And it kind of was like that throughout the season, really. Like some people have got little knocks, like you got a knock and you're thinking, I can't miss this game. So you're just getting taped up, patched up, getting put out there because you know what you want to be a part of. And, I think that was something that was really, really strong about the squad. It was like a massive togetherness, everyone in it together, and just everyone wanted to win and do well and get kind of right or wrong from the season before and get back promoted.
Can you take us to that night at Doncaster? Like, I was stood outside before the players arrived, and the amount of Rovers fans stood outside the entrance to the stadium was unbelievable. And I remember every single player getting off the coach and everybody was screaming and shouting like, come on, lads. What was that like? That must have been special.
I'll be honest, the day leading up to that game, I was nervous. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
I was nervous as fuck. Honestly, I can't because we went there, we had like rooms for the afternoon. Supposed to like go and have some food, have a nap in the afternoon, get yourself ready, relax. No relaxing. I tried to sleep, but I honestly, I was playing it man in my mind. Right, we need to win, we get promoted. But what about if that happens? And then no, and I'm thinking, just win. But my mind's like going, trying to play out the game before we played it. And then we went to pre-match. We had a meeting, and this is where like Tony Mowbray was brilliant for me personally, and for the lads that were there. Like he just like settled it right down. It was just like, look, we've got a game to go and play. We've played all these games before. We've got a game to go and play right now. Let's just go and play. We know what we're capable of. Go and play. So then I'm thinking, right, yeah, game mode. Get on the bus on the way and you're listening to music, lads are chatting. Get off the bus and you see all the fans. You know what it means. You know what that means that day. And you're like, right, this is where you got two choices. You either sink or you swim. And thankfully, we swum. Daki cross, Charlie header, Bosch, see you later. Bedlam, fans on the pitch. I'm thinking, get off. Yeah. Last thing we need here is a stoppage in the game or some sort of abandonment, anything, just get off. Yeah. And then obviously when the whistle went, like just pure, just elation, like you just relief as well, because it's a long season, Championship super long, League One super long, and you kind of everything you've done in that season, and it kind of doesn't. It's not just the season; it's like pre-season. It's all the work that goes in, all them kind of times, and obviously the fans get to see you for 46 league games, however many cup games you play, but it's all the days in between that where your Christmas, like them kind of times, and then you get to that moment and you're like, everything you've done during that season, it's been worth it. All the kind of like the losing the first two games of the season, all that kind of stuff just kind of pales into insignificance, and you're like, wow, we've fucking done it. And you sit back and you're like, and I think there's a picture that's been around, I don't know if any of you have seen it, where we're all celebrating in the dressing room and the gaffer has just sat, just looking at us going, clapping, going. And I think that kind of moment sums up how everyone else was feeling, but we're obviously a bit more, I say younger, sounds a bit bad, but like, do you know what I mean? A bit more like, yeah, have a beer, let's have a drink, let's have a party and that. Whereas the gaffer's just like, you'll realise in a few weeks or in a few years that these moments are what football's about.
Benno, I want to know one thing. You heard Pep Guardiola say that it's better than sex. Was that feeling, was it better than sex?
Do you know what? I'd say it is. I'd say it is, just because how many people nowadays wait that long for that feeling? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of them about, but Tinder, Plenty of Fish, and all these kind of dating sites. Not to plug any
It's
of
been
them,
a long-
like, by the way.
It's been a long time, Benno, personally, mate. Right, so you know what I mean, like.
Well, when it finally happens, that feeling, that's the same feeling. There you go.
Well, I'm going to a wedding in Rome tomorrow, so hey, I'll touch wood. It's all
There
gonna
you
come
go.
through, lads.
Hey,
There
you
we
got
are.
every chance.
There we are.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice little Italian bird for Ollie. Nice little Italian bird. But
Yeah.
I tell you
Let's all
what,
wish for it.
I tell you what, Ben. Obviously, we could probably sit here all day and talk about Blackburn Rovers. Obviously, we know we've seen you with the fans and stuff like that. We know how much you love the club, but we want to see how much you know about the club and your time at the club. You know, we've been asking these questions in depth, but we're going to the quick fire. And Luke here, he's got 10 questions for you. We're just going to straight up go for it. And, you know, Luke, whenever you're ready, brother, just hit him with it. And you've got 1 minute starting now.
Right. Which Rovers player persuaded Bradley Dack to sign for the club by saying, "I will get you more than 15 goals"?
Danny Graham.
What season was Danny Graham's last for Rovers?
Oh, I know it as well. The COVID one. Was it the?
What?
I don't know the exact year, but the COVID one.
What was your highest scoring season at the club?
Not many. 5.
How many appearances did you make for Rovers in total?
109. All competitions.
Yeah.
190, I think.
You scored against Blackpool in the FA Cup in 2017. Who else scored for Rovers that game?
Craig Conway.
How many league games have you played in?
Oh, it wasn't Craig Conway. Sam Gallagher. It was Sam Gallagher, I think. Yeah, sorry.
Across your whole career, how many games?
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone, man.
Quick.
It's
That's
quick,
so
innit?
quick.
Do you know what? When you're answering, it goes way quicker than you think. You watch people on the TV do them type of things, and you go, "Just get it right, get it right." As soon as it's you, bro, it's all over the place,
mate. When I'm in the off season, I've been doing a minute runs. Them minute runs are so long. It ain't like that. Do you know what? Next time I'm doing a run, we need to get a podcast going. I'll be running for a minute. You can ask me them questions, and the minute's going to go.
That's actually a great idea.
Benno, we should get next time you come on. We'll definitely sort something fun out, mate. But Luke, go and ask him the rest of the questions. Let's see if he gets them right.
Right. So, what was the score when we played Shrewsbury Town at home back in League One?
3-1.
Yeah, that's right.
What season were you made Rovers captain?
2021. No, 21. What about? That's not. No.
Are you still playing for us, Benno?
Mate, Benno, are you feeling all right?
Yeah, I know. 2019.
We can blame that one on the Greek heat, Benno. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Sunstroke.
Who did you score your first goal for when you played for Rovers? Who was your first goal against?
Oh, it was a home game, a volley. Edge of the box.
He's reminiscing it. Look at it. He's going through it one by one.
Oh no! See, this would have killed me anyway. It took me ages. Who was that again?
You're glad it was question 9, not number 1.
I can remember the goal. I can remember what boots I had on. I had orange Adidas boots on. And I just jumped in a late. I was just like, didn't know what to do. Celebrate, like, yeah. I'm gonna say Reading.
It was MK Dons.
It was MK Dons, man.
Yeah.
I did score a good goal against Reading actually that same season. Last day of the season it was. Matt Kilgallen crossed the ball, took a touch outside of the right, bounced up, hit it with my left foot. Remember that, Reading. Last day of the season.
I've got one more question for you.
He's already answered it though. He's already answered it.
You've already answered it, but I'm going to ask you anyway. But after that, I do have another question that came up. Who took the corner that Charlie Mulgrew scored when we beat Doncaster?
Yeah, Dak, man.
Yeah. Benno, when you said that before, I was smiling. I was like, "Oh, this guy, man, this guy's already got us. He's got us. He knows."
I wish I knew.
So I've just got one more thing to ask you. So I don't know if you've seen it or not, but when we in that promotion season, we didn't finish champions. But when Wigan Athletic were celebrating being champions of the league, Paul Cook turned round and said, "I wonder what the celebrations are like in Blackburn." and it's not looking good for him now.
Listen, football is a funny game, and why I always tried. Like, you know, I have so many, like, sometimes I have some people messaging me and I'm like, I would love to like open you right back up with a big answer, but then it can come straight back to you in an instant. Look, like, I don't like to see any football club struggle that. It's not fair on the people that doesn't, you know, the people that pay their money to go and watch their team. Look, I played for Bury as a kid. Look what happened to them. Do you know what I mean? Them fans, it's not fair. You can't control it, and that's the one bit of football that I really dislike, because it's the people of the communities of the places that you play for that suffer. You know, the owners disappear, the club disappears. Who loses out? Do you know what I mean? But having said that, you know, Paul Cook's no longer at Wigan. Wigan aren't doing as well as Blackburn, so sometimes you have to be careful about what you say about other people before, you know, karma is a bitch. And it really is a bitch as well, because obviously I played with Shay Dunkley last year, who was at Wigan. Just a quick one, little story. So we're in when we got promoted, we said, we'll go to Las Vegas as a group. So we did. We're in the airport. Who's in the airport at the same time? Wigan. So they're in the bar when you go to check in. Before you go into board the plane, walking past, and I think it was Max Power. I want to say it was Max Power. We're all walking past, like, having a laugh and that. And we see him, like, well, everyone's like, "Oh, you're right." They're like, "You're right." And then I think it was Max Power turns around and goes, "Oh, lads, here they are." You know, a bit like
Mike Bassett.
Mike Bassett. Here they are, lads. Here they are, the runners up in League One. And they give us a round of applause. And we're all walking through like, oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Oh, no. We got there, though, and we were the champions of Vegas. They didn't touch us in that little stint. So, yeah, we won one championship that year.
Ollie, I'm sorry to interrupt. Look, Ollie, if you need to ask something, it's gonna have to be off. We don't have the money for Zoom Pro.
That's all right.
These interviews cost too much these days, man. You can't do anything for a living without.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Honestly, you have to pay so much. But before we get into
you know what you need to do? Part two.
So, there you go. That's an idea.
We'll do a part two. You can put out to people, fans, anyone who's watched, any questions, anything they want me to ask. I'll be as open and honest as I can. Do a part two whenever it suits you. If there's a need for it. If you only get like 7 or 8 views, don't bother. We'll just cut this bit out of the interview.
Just scrap it. Just scrap the whole thing.
We've had a lot of interest for your podcast. We even had DG commenting, "Oh, can't wait for this one. Can't wait to watch." So you all, like, everybody loves you. So
high demand, mate. But no, obviously, before we get to you, Ben or Ollie, thanks for joining us, mate, today.
No, you're welcome.
Luke,
thank you very much
for joining as well.
Enjoy Rome.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Cheers, Ben.
Ollie, mate. I want to know all about it when you get back. I want to know all about it. We can't talk about it now, but when you get back, I want a phone call, mate. But also, Luke, thanks for joining us as well, pal.
No problem.
And Ben,
cheers, Luke. Thank you, mate.
Benno, just before you go, mate.
Yeah.
Have you got anything to say to the Rovers fans before you go?
Just thank you for everything you gave me in my time at the club. 5.5 years. Absolutely loved it. The people of Blackburn. And I wish nothing but for the best for the club. I watch religiously when they're on telly about 100 times last season. So you didn't really need to go to the games. They're all on Sky, weren't they, last year?
Sky Rovers.
Yeah, I know. But no, honestly, like, I wish nothing but success. And, you know, I'd love to see the club back in the Premier League. And the day that happens, that first Premier League game, when it finally does happen, I'll be there, hopefully right in the mix, couple of drinks, just soaking it up and enjoying it. But I genuinely thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I had a amazing 5.5 years at the football club, and it's one of my fondest memories of my playing career.
No, Benno, on behalf of all the Blackburn Rovers fans and myself and Luke and Ollie, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure having you at the club as well, mate. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time in part 2.
Thank you very much.